Great. So, well, thank you for joining, everyone. So, welcome to the first of our Salus Coffee Talks. It is aimed to be a monthly gathering where Salus members can come together to share their latest food safety culture related research. And the aim is to have this as a supportive and a collaborative environment so we can learn about what each one of us is doing and also share any inputs or thoughts into the process. Um, so this session or this whole Salus Coffee Talks, it's more of a platform to provide both PhD students and academics to present your ongoing research projects, receive feedback, engage in any other networking events, or thinking of ways to collaborate going forward, um, and basically to keep that spirit of Salus going from all over the world. So this being our first session, I just wanted to give a brief outline of how the session what it would look like. So as you can see, they are 30-minute sessions, so they're quite short. Um, and it would start with an introduction of the presenter. So we have Carolina today. So the introduction would be introduction by the presenter would be 5 minutes. That'd be a 15-minute presentation and then a 10-minute Q&A session, which today we might not get the full 10 minutes, but usually it'll be a 10-minute Q&A session. So usually they're scheduled for the fourth Friday of every month. So it's once a month. So hopefully many of you can make it. So I'll do a brief introduction of Carolina, and if I miss anything, Carolina, apologies for that. So Carolina is a PhD student enrolled in the graduate program in nutrition at the Federal University of Sao Paulo in Brazil. She's a member of the Food Safety Risk and Resilience Study Group, which is a Brazilian scientific group dedicated to advancing food safety research. Obviously, she's also a member of Salus, and Carolina is a nutritionist, and she's currently employed in the food service sector of the Brazilian Air Force. And her current PhD supervisors are Elke, and she's co-supervised by Laís. And she focuses on integrating the theory of planned behavior into education initiatives to promote a proactive food safety culture in the food service sector. So over to you, Carolina.
Thank you. Thank you to introduce me. I will share my screen 1 minute, please. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, but just the Teams.
Okay.
Yes, now the presentation. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, here. Well, I would like to thank Salus to the invitation. It's a pleasure to be the first student to be here and present my results at Salus Coffee Talks. So my project, the title of my project is Integrating the Theory of Planned Behavior in Food Handler Educational Actions for the Proactive Involvement of Food Safety Culture. Foodborne disease affects 600 million people a year, and they're responsible for 420,000 deaths per year and 33 million dailies, the sum of years of life lost due to premature mortality and years lived with disability. So foodborne disease are a public health problem, and food safety culture is an emergent risk factor for foodborne disease. So in this project, we used the 8 elements of food safety culture defined by Zanin. They are leadership, communication, knowledge, commitment, management systems style and process, work environment, risk perception, and work pressure and normative beliefs. In this project, we also used the classification of food safety culture as reactive, active, or proactive. And an organization with a reactive food safety culture has little or no consideration to food safety, while an organization with a proactive food safety culture has high regard and complete support to food safety. So it's important to have a proactive food safety culture in an organization. Food safety culture can be evolved, can be transformed. And Zanin used educational actions to evolve food safety culture in this paper. At time T0, Zanin assessed food safety culture, and based on the results of this assessment, they developed educational actions. And then they implemented the educational actions. And after 9 months, they checked the effects of the educational actions, assessing the prevailing food safe culture again. And after 6 months, they assessed the prevailing food safe culture again to check the sustainability of the effects of the educational actions. So at time 0, the prevailing food safety culture was reactive to active. At time 1, the prevailing food safety culture was active to proactive. And at time 2, the prevailing food safety culture was active to proactive. So in this work, they demonstrated that educational actions can evolve food safety culture. Theory of planned behavior is a social and psychological theory developed by Zanin that is used for understand the behavior and to predict behavior and understand behavior. And this theory states that behavior is preceded by intention, the intention to perform this behavior. And intention is preceded by 3 constructs: attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control. Attitude is the evaluation of the behavior. Subjective norm is the social pressure to perform this behavior. And perceived behavior control is the person's ability to perform this behavior. And these constructs are preceded by beliefs, behavior beliefs, normative beliefs, and control beliefs. Behavior beliefs is the outcomes of the behavior. Normative beliefs normative beliefs are who cares about this behavior, and control beliefs are the barriers or facilitators to perform this behavior. So the purpose of this project is to evaluate the effect of integrating the theory of planned behavior into educational actions of food handlers to proactive involvement of food safety culture. This project is being carried out in Brazilian Air Force Food Service with 125 food handlers and managers, and was approved by Ethics Committee. The study design has 6 steps. The first step is the pilot study, when we identified food handlers' beliefs about food safety behaviors and developed the theory of planned behavior questionnaire. The step 2 was the data collection, when we assessed food safety culture and investigated the theory of planned behavior constructs. At step 3, we did an intervention based on behavior change. And in the step 4, we will do another data collection. We will assess again food safety culture and investigate again the theory of planned behavior constructs. And then we are going to develop another intervention. And finally, we are going to do the data collection 3, when we are going to assess again food safety culture and investigation again the theory of planned behavior constructs. So to develop the theory of planned behavior questionnaire, we use direct and indirect measures. To develop the direct measures, we use the TACT, the target, action, context, and time. So the target, action, context, and time was present in all statements of direct measures. And they are the target was food, the action was safe handling, the context was food service, and time at work. To develop the indirect measures of the constructs of theory of planned behavior, we use the beliefs. So to develop the statements of attitude, we use the behavior beliefs and outcome evaluation. To develop the statements of subjective norm, we use the normative beliefs and the motivations to comply. And to develop the statement of perceived behavior control, we develop the control beliefs. We use the control beliefs and the frequency of control beliefs. And how we know these beliefs? So to know these beliefs, we interviewed 25 food handlers, and then we recorded these interviews and transcribed these interviews and did a thematic content analysis. So from the thematic content analysis, from the test, emerged the beliefs regarding safe food handling. And with these beliefs, we developed the indirect measures of the theory of plain behavior questionnaire. So if the questionnaire ready, we sent this questionnaire for 5 experts in food safety and theory of plain behavior to content validation. And after that, we did a pilot study with 25 food handlers. So the content validation with 5 experts, in this content validation, the experts analyzed the clarity of each statement, the theoretical relevance, and the practical relevance, using a score between 1 to 5. And then we calculated the CVCs, the content validation coefficient, using this formula. And the CVC better than 0.75 was considered adequate. In the pilot study, we did the pilot study with 25 food handlers, and they analyzed the clarity and comprehension of each statement and used a score between 1 to 5. And we also used the CVC better than 0.75 to consider adequate the statement. To assess food safety culture, we use the mixed method approach designed by Zanin. And for each food safety culture element, we used one qualitative method and one quantitative method. So we used 2 surveys, one for managers and another for food handlers. And also we used 2 checklists, one to assess degree of sanitary risk and another to assess infrastructure, equipment, and utensils. We also did a participant observation. We did a participant observation during 5 days, and we was guided for, we used observation points, was a guided participant observation. So for each element, we used observation points. Here I bring the example of the food safety culture element leadership. And for each observation point, we classified this observation point as reactive, active, and proactive. After that, with the results of quantitative and qualitative methods, we use this table to classify the scores of each characteristic. For example, if the one characteristic of leadership has a mean between 1 and 2.5, we classified it as reactive. If the mean was between 2.6 and 4, we classified this characteristic as active. And if the mean was between 4.1 and 5, we classified this characteristic as proactive. So with the classification of each characteristic of elements, we put these results in this interpretation grid to triangulate the data. And then we calculated the mean value of each element. And with this mean value, we went to this table and classified the element. For example, if the element scored between 1 and 1.2, we classified as reactive. We also sum all the elements and had a total score. And if the total score was, for example, between 8 to 9.9, we classified as reactive. To investigate the predictors of intention, we used a multiple linear regression. And to correlate the direct and indirect measures of the constructs of theory of plain behavior, we did a Spearman correlation. The interventions was formulated from the results of the data collected, food safety culture and theory of plain behavior. and was focused on changing behavior. And the outcome will be assessed by food safety culture elements, the prevailing food safety culture, and theory of planning behavior constructs. So here we have my preliminary results. Here are the results of the thematic content analysis, the categories that emerged from this analysis. So they are behavior beliefs, normative beliefs, and control beliefs. Behavior beliefs are the outcome of the behavior. And for food handlers, the outcome of a safe food handler, it was perception of food quality and safety, time expenditure, and consumer health. The normative beliefs who cares about the behavior was management and nutritionists, food service employees, sector managers, and auditors. And the control beliefs, the barriers to perform the behavior was proper equipment and utensils, work overload, sanitization of equipment and utensils, personal hygiene, and adequate work space. The theory of planned behavior questionnaire had 34 statements, 12 of direct measures, and 22 of indirect measures. And we needed 2 rounds with experts to achieve a CVC better than 0.75 in each statement, and 1 round to achieve a CVC better than 0.775 in the target population. We excluded 2 questions due to similarity. Here are the results of our descriptive analysis. So the most part of the managers was female, and the mean age was 32.8, and the bachelors in all managers have bachelor's degree. Regarding food handlers, the most part of food handlers was male, and the mean age was 31, and the most part of food handlers has high school, and 103 food handlers have participated in a training about food safety. Here are the results of our multiple linear regression. So perceived behavior control was a significant statistic predictor of intention. So we choose this construct to work in the interventions to evolve food safety culture. And we found that subjective norm, the direct and indirect measures of subjective norm and attitude was correlated. Here are the results of our food safety culture assessment. So the prevailing food safety culture was active, and the element with the lower score was risk perception. So we choose risk perception to work in the educational actions to evolve food safety culture. So our interventions was based on risk perception and perceived behavior control. To work with risk perception, we decided to develop food safety values, conceptualize food safety, to incorporate the concept of danger and risk, to develop risk perception of the lethality of foodborne disease, and to raise awareness of the degree of risk. And to work the perceived behavior control, we decided to work on ways to overcome perceived barriers to safe food handling and to reinforce self-efficacy beliefs and provide adequate resource and remind employees to adopt the behaviors. So we developed 4 interventions. The first interventions, we worked with food handlers, food safety concepts. So food handlers were separated in 4 groups, and each group worked with one concept: food safety, hazard, or risk, or foodborne disease. And this work was mediated by me. And at final of this work, the food handlers presented this concept to other food handlers. The other intervention was degree of risk. In this intervention, we worked with managers, and we discussed the results of the risk assessment and established the root cause of each non-compliance. And then we using the 5 why tools and then propose solutions for these non-compliance to solve these problems. In the third intervention is we did a group activity. It was the sanitization of equipment and utensils. So we did a group activity for the steps of sanitization of utensils and equipments and the use of products. So first we asked participants to do the sanitization of the utensil and equipment, and then we correct the procedure if it was wrong. And the fourth intervention was temperature control with food handlers. We asked participants to write in a paper the right temperature that a red food must be, and other types of food too, in the fridge, all. And we tell them the right temperature and explain why temperature is important. And we also measure the temperature of the food together with the participant. So the next step of our project is the data collection tool, when we are going to assess again food safety culture and investigate again the theory of plain behavior constructs. And with these results, we are going to develop other interventions. And then we are going to, in the next year, we are going to assess again theory, assess again food safety culture and investigate the theory of plain behavior constructs. The first data collection was made in April in last year. So here are my reference. I want to correct one information. I said that the participant observation was 5 days, but it was 10 days, okay? And here it's my contact, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Carolina. That was really interesting. Your study looks really interesting. So we've got 5 minutes. I think we've got time for a couple of questions. Does anyone have any questions on the study? I mean, I've got a couple. I could go first, but I'll let Louise go first.
So thank you for a really interesting presentation. Well, my question is, if you look at some of the models of theory of planned behaviour, they also include habits and this idea of reinforced behaviour, that people have been doing behaviours for a long time, so that then creates a barrier to change. Is that something that you've seen in your research, or is that something that you might look at in your research in the future?
Yes, not the habit, but we are looking for other constructs that we can put in this theory to explain better the behavior under study.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Louise. And Elke?
Hi, Carolina. I have no question, but I would like to congratulate and thank for Salus for the opportunity from this presentation. Okay, congratulations, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, so I'll go. I have one question. So you said that there was you identified themes for developing the education programs under risk perception. So I just wanted to know how those themes were identified. So was this based on engaging with the participants, or how did you identify the themes?
Was aleatory, not have a rule to define the teams.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the session. Thank you for all this information that you shared about your PhD. If anyone has any further questions for Carolina, then please, I'm sure you're happy for them to drop you an email with the questions. So yeah, please get in touch. And thank you for attending today's Salus Coffee Talks. And I look forward to seeing all of you next month too. Fingers crossed. And we'll share who the next month's speaker is in the next week. So thank you for joining, and the link will be made available for watching later on.
Thanks,
Thanks.
you,
Good to see you
Ronak.
all. Thank you.
Good to see you, Laís.
Thank
How are
you.
you doing?
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye. See you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye.